here we go, and I'm going to do this. Let me know when you can see the beautiful Italian tank in the background.
Yes, spaghetti tank.
Spaghetti tank Progetto. I'm pretty sure I'm going to mispronounce it all the time. So let's start. Hey guys, thanks for coming. So as far as I know, we are going to be joined by some other people from Wargaming as well. We already have our producer from the EU office here. Gepard is actually there. So he's going to help us with a couple of more tricky questions, I suppose, later on. But I want to tell you about what we want to talk about today, actually, because just like last time, if you've been here last time as well, is we are going to have a specific topic, and we want to talk about, as you probably have guessed, about the Italian tank, but also something that is connected to the Italian tank. So I'm just going to bring up something so that you can actually see this. There you go. So before we go into anything, I wanted to remind you once again that this is confidential, so unless we say otherwise, unless you can see that the deadline is reached, please don't share this information, don't share the link to the YouTube video, don't share anything please about this, because that would be bad, and we really want to keep sharing information with you guys, but that also has the requirement that it's not shared outside of these circles, okay? So I'm going to remind you later on if more people come in, just so they don't miss this info later on either. So we have the Progetto coming out soon, and you guys are already testing it. Some of you have accounts for the Super Test on the Russian side, but we are going to have accounts for you to test it on the EU server soon as well, and we are going to share those accounts with you. Now, when you actually can disclose the information about the tank, when you can actually publish the information, it's going to be on the 6th. So I'm going to already scroll down a little bit here so that you know what I'm talking about. However, there is another part of this, let's say, Italian event, kinda, is that there is going to be a marathon for this tank as well. As you know, this is the first time we are introducing a tier 8 premium tank as the first tank for a line, right? Usually we go with a lower tier premium tank. This is a bit different, and it's also a completely new mechanic. So instead of just introducing it and selling the tank instantly, what we wanted to do is we wanted to give everyone the chance to get it for free. So there's going to be a marathon for it, which starts actually on the 13th, and there's going to be an announcement on the 11th. So I would love to not disclose any kind of information about this part until the 11th, until that actual announcement comes out. So you can talk about the tank itself starting on the 6th, but you cannot actually talk about the marathon itself until the 11th, please. Okay. So the marathon itself, we are going to have the marathon on the EU, NA, and the APAC regions. So this is not happening on the Russian region. The Russian region, they actually are going to sell the tank on the 6th. That's the reason why the NDA lifts for the tank on the 6th. So that you know. And then we are going to go down a little bit. As you can see, there is this important disclaimer there. I'm going to paraphrase this a little bit because I think it's very complicated. So basically, don't share information about this, about the tank until the 6th, and about the marathon until the 11th. That's what it says. And about the tank itself, as I already said, this is a tier 8 premium. This is the first tank for the Italian line, and it has, as you probably already know, this new reloader mechanic, which is going to be very interesting. It's also going to be relatively hard to grasp maybe at first, and then it has a high skill cap in my opinion. So it's going to be really fun to play with, but it's not exactly easy to get how it works initially. So this marathon might also help with that as well. And I hope that you guys in your previews can actually showcase the tank and make people understand how it works. I think that will be a good introduction for the tank. And as you can see, it's a fast vehicle with medium armor. Ooh, I can hear myself from someone. Oh, there you go. Nice. So, about the marathon, because I'm pretty sure you are interested in that. This is going to be basically, it has 10 stages. And it's going to be 2 different parts of it. There's going to be one where you can actually grind the tank. So, if you are not the most skilled player, you will have a chance to just farm base EXP to complete the stages and get the tank for free in the end. However, there is and for this you actually only need a tier 6 plus tank. So you can just play the game normally, get the free XP, and then just go through the stages. However, if you want to use your skill instead of grinding, you can also do so by using tier 10 and completing a set of missions. And I'm going to show you the missions later on. Everything okay so far? Just checking.
I just have a question.
Okay.
So we're gonna receive the accounts to test the tank, right, and prepare a review for it.
Yes, exactly.
So when will we be able to reveal the tank?
As I said, so we are going to give you the accounts, I think, starting tomorrow, hopefully, and then you can actually already reveal the information about the tank. You can publish the previews on the 6th. What you cannot do is you cannot publish anything about the marathon. That you can do on the 11th.
Okay, so if I plan a stream with the tank, is it able? I mean, am I able to stream with the tank like?
Starting from the 6th, yes.
People who already got an account in the Russian server, are they allowed to get an account for the European one?
Yes. That shouldn't be a problem. Any other questions so far? Everything clear? Can I go on?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I take it as yes. I just want to check whether you guys can hear me, everything is okay, and you can see everything on the stream as well. Okay, so as I said, skill-based missions and then grind-based conditions, basically. And I wanted to show you the actual stages as well. So, as you can see, I think it says main gun medal. I'm pretty sure that actually should say top gun medal for stage 1. So, just disregard the main gun medal, it's actually top gun. So as you can see, the first mission is to get a Top Gun medal once, and then the second stage is to block 4000 damage times 5, and then Top Gun medal times 5, and so on. So these are the skill missions, the first 10. And you can do either one or the other, so you don't have to do both. You can like either do the EXP or the skill mission, and you can alternate between them in between stages as well. So let's say you do the first stage based on the skill condition, and then you do the stage 2 based on the grind condition, because you couldn't actually do the block 4000 damage times 5. So it's completely flexible like this. And these are the grind conditions. So just so you know, you probably by looking at it already know that this is not exactly the most easy marathon ever. However, I think the reward is also really cool. Now, here's an important bit of information that we should focus on. I think that it's not only the tank that you get when you complete the mission. You also get, I'm not sure if I have this here, maybe the guys can actually give you more information about it, but what you get is also every stage has several rewards involving like boosters, credits, equipment, I think consumables, and stars. There's a unique star to be earned as well. So basically, when you complete the whole thing, you will be able to get the tank and at least the same amount in terms of like value in different stuff that you get as well, that you can use in game. So it's actually not just about the tank, even though it's a marathon for the Italian tank. It actually has at least as much in terms of in-game content as well, in addition to the tank. That's the idea. Now, the other thing that is important here is that just like I think before in marathons, you can also buy tokens to make your way through the missions. So if you so choose, you can do the whole thing for free, or you can complete each of the several stages, or the 10 stages, with purchasing the token. Which also means that if you complete the stage by just playing, you're going to get discounts if you later on want to buy the tank with token. So if you, let's say, complete 50% of it, like you complete the first 5 stages, you only need to buy 5 tokens to get the whole package in the end. This, I think, is the basics of it. This is how the whole thing looks. And if you have any questions, let me know.
One question I have is, I've heard before about the new autoloader mechanic. Is it going to be on the Italian tanks?
Yes, it is going to be on the Italian tank. You will be able to test it out with the preview account. It has a 3-shot drum, this one. And if I remember correctly, we are going to have an article separately about the tank itself and a video as well, I think on the 10th, if I'm not mistaken. Any other questions?
Yes, are we allowed to? I mean, we are not going to speak anything about this, but are we allowed to push a little bit of viewers at least that the important that is to green at tier 10, at least one. Just like I mean, not giving any relation with this event, not giving any tip, anything. Just to push them to working at tier.
Can you give me an example? How would you push them?
I don't know, like how important is for Wargaming the release of the 1.0 version and the anniversary, and there is something that things are going to happen. So, but like how important is to work with in a tier 10 tank, because maybe there is some players that they are stuck in tier 8, tier 9, and maybe they get kind of lazy.
So what you mean is basically once you reveal the tank on the 6th, whether you can actually talk about maybe encouraging the players to play for tier 10 so that later on they can participate in the marathon.
Yes, exactly. That's what I mean.
I think that's going to be hard to do without revealing that you know.
No, of course, absolutely. I will not do nothing like that. But just at least to say, hey guys, it's really important to get at least one tier 10 tank, something like that. I don't know. Just wondering.
To be honest, I mean, if you can come up with a way that is not very conspicuous,
all right,
not very obvious, obviously, but I think it's going to be hard without revealing stuff.
Yeah,
but
it's okay.
I leave it up to you, but please don't reveal anything.
No, I'm going to take that as a no, so it's fine.
Okay, any other questions? What do you guys think about the marathon from what you can see so far?
I mean, the fact that the marathon will allow like non-skilled players to get the tank, I think it's a good thing, to be honest.
Because as you probably have guessed, our concern is like how people react to this. Like obviously there is this, let's say, grind element to it, and we definitely didn't want to do something like a grind fest, which people associated with this Italian event, for example. So there's we have tier limits for everything: tier 10 for the skill based, and then tier 6 plus for the grind part. So do you guys see any issue that you personally think should be a problem with this one? Because this is also about you guys giving us feedback, because we are obviously we are concerned about delivering something that might be a problem for the players.
The grind thing about it's you have 1 day per grind condition, so it's 1 day per stage.
No, you basically just go through the stages one after the other. You don't. there is no time frame on it, so it's not like.
Okay, so it's not day 1 you need 5,000. Day 2 you need. Okay.
What's the length of
you
the
have 2
total
weeks,
campaign?
You have 2 weeks to complete the whole campaign.
And it's base XP or total XP?
Base EXP, net EXP, so base EXP.
Base, without boosters and anything. Okay.
Exactly.
How does the...
it's not easy. It's not easy, but I think people will be cool with it, because after Valentine and MTLGS on that fucking shit tier 3, for example, at the Spanish community, they are raging because they want some kind of tier 8 marathon. And when you guys are telling them you will be delivering a tier 8 for a new nation in a marathon, they will fucking explode their brains, basically.
For how long is gonna be this this marathon?
2 weeks.
2 weeks, yes. Ooh, and there is 10 stage. All right.
Yeah, it's not exactly the most easy thing, but still, I mean, the rewards are pretty nice.
But it's a good tank. I think people have to sit down and work for it. So I think it's gonna be a good deal. People is gonna be really glad with
once
this.
Again, I would like to emphasize, I think for me at least, it looks really nice that it's not only the tank, but also the rewards. Like if I'm not mistaken, there is more than 1 million credits. There's a very unique style, so customization style. There are a lot of boosters, a lot of equipment, so a lot of additional stuff as well.
I think this will motivate newer players to actually play the game for more time, because since it's actually skill grind to receive the tier 8 premium, I think new players will play way more World of Tanks.
Okay.
I think for me, I think it's a great way for people to be able to get this tier 8 tank for free. I just wondered what the equivalent amount of XP, if you were grinding for a tier 8 in general, would be compared to what the amount of tier 8 XP is you've got to grind for this particular tank. And is that like an equivalent grind?
So
It
this is
seems
maybe
quite a lot, doesn't it?
No, it's nearly the double.
It's,
Nearly
I
the
mean, I
double
know
of
it's
it.
a premium. I know it's a premium tank, so you would expect to have to grind a little bit more XP than you would for a normal tier 8. But I just wondered what the equivalent level of grindingness would be, because the skill thing is fine, and I struggle with those skill things to get the tanks in the game. But I think what you've done is right. The combination of the skill-based ones, which everybody will get some of those, plus the XP grind, plus the ability to maybe put a few pounds in to buy the tank, is the right mix because it gives everybody the option.
Mhm. So maybe
one
that's a question
question.
is actually for the guys here, our developers. And
So-
maybe
So
There you go.
to get to tier 8, right, the standard one, you need from tier 1, you need around like 200 to 250k XP, right? In this marathon, the total for all 10 stages for grind is 315,000. So a bit more than that, and also it's only base XP, so it doesn't count for your doubles and all the boosters and so on, right? But overall, it's not some sort of outlandish amount of XP. It seems really doable, and the last 2 stages are the hardest. So it's a bit different than we did with previous marathons, where each nation was actually sort of worth the same. If you wanted to skip a stage, right? I mean, a nation, you would buy a token, and then you could just not complete the part of marathon with this nation. Here, if you complete 8 out of 10, you're actually only need to make like around 2/3 of the progress in total amount of XP, but you're getting yourself a 80% discount on this entire thing, right? So even if you look at this this way, you can skip like 1/3 of this entire grind if you want to, for basically just 20% of the value of the entire progress.
It makes sense, because if you were buying this as a bundle in the shop and it was a tier 8, and you were buying it with 1 million credits and some gold and garage slots and equipment and all that sort of stuff, the equivalent version of XP that you'd have to grind to get all that kind of stuff would be, I guess, around 300,000 anyway. So it seems very well balanced from that perspective.
Yep.
Good to hear.
Any other questions, guys?
I have a few questions, but not regarding the Italian line.
Phelan, the question and answers are gonna be used about one topic.
Yes,
Today,
this
I
is,
mean.
this is specifically about this. Maybe after we have finished with this one, I wanted to talk to you about actually the Q&As, because me and Odious had an idea that we might actually do something similar like this every week, not specifically about one topic maybe, but in general, and if we have a specific topic, obviously we can make it about that. So I wanted to know what you guys think about that, but let's discuss this after. Let's see if we have more questions about either the marathon or the Italian tank. If you don't have anything else, then we can finish this part and move on with that. So any other questions about Italian tank or the marathon?
Who's the one who's gonna be in charge to give the European accounts?
It's gonna come either from me, Vuk, or Kenley.
All right.
One short question about the stages. Not the grinding ones. The others is the multiplier. How often you have to get these?
Yeah, that's right. This is how many times you need to, because each of these requirements needs to be achieved in a single battle, right? So block 4,000 damage means in a single battle. Top 1 damage, obviously in a single battle. Earn 850 XP also in one battle. So the number afterwards means how many times you need to repeat this sort of achievement.
So it's grinding too.
I mean, arguably, it's for let's say easy stages, like early stages. It may be easier to get 5,000 XP than get the Top Gun, right? But it doesn't really matter, because as long as you're playing with tier 10, because you can remember you can only complete your skill missions with tier 10. As long as you're playing tier 10, you also at the same time completing your grind XP, right? So whichever happens first, you proceed to the next stage. So you're not really losing anything. It just happens automatically.
Okay, understood. Thanks.
Okay, I see a question, maybe once again for Piotr or Artem. How do you handle the bot problems that will come, I guess, for the base EXP grinding? Eucrates is asking this in the chat channel.
So there is a requirement to be in top 10.
Yeah, actually, it's I can maybe show it to you. I think it's listed here later on.
Top 10 win or lose, or just win?
That's a good question.
It's both, as far as I remember.
If I remember the article, I think I remember the article which said this, and I also commented on this, but you have to make it clear.
Yes, it says both. If you scroll down, you see both.
Okay.
Okay. Scroll down, let me see. Did I miss it? Was it here?
No, I think a little bit down.
Ah, yeah, there we go. So results count whether the battle is won or lost. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so there we go. So it's not exactly that easy to get like a bot into, so to say, or botting, like at least bot-like behavior to get into the top 10. Yeah.
And you have the over tier 6 rule also.
To be honest, I think that the win or lose thing will even have more bots, even though, I mean, if it's
don't
just
forget
win...
This is tier 6+, right? So it's not
but have a visual, have a short look on what happens actually with the last marathon for the.
But there was no tier limits.
That's still running. Yeah, but you can do it if it's tier 4 and 5 and 6, and you have seen many people just running in, doing 2 shots, 3 shots, out next battle, and rinse and repeat. This gives you easily 2 or 3 shots is enough to be on the 10th place.
Yes, but this is not the most efficient way to
it's a pain in the ass, basically.
Get XP. Yeah. Here it's all about XP. In the Intel leaderboard, you get a token per battle regardless of how well you did, right? Here every point of experience will count, and even more, right? Because it's base XP, so you'll be getting them a bit slower. So I think it's better to stay alive for a couple of 2 more minutes in the battle, and possibly double the amount of or triple the amount of XP you get for spotting or doing damage than just do some kind of stupid shenanigans.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Even though I think that the team that lose, I think they will. I mean, it's fair and it's not fair at the same time, because the people that think the bot is the way. I mean, if we have like 10 bots in a battle, and 5 bots get in the losing team, there's bots that are going to receive like oh my god, it's missing me the word, but there's still bots that will be able to get the stuff. I mean,
guys, I think you're blowing this out of proportions. Really, there's no such big problem. I mean, it's quite easy to mistake a beginner player, especially in low tiers, for a bot. It's like if you're very good, and it's easy to forget how you were playing, where you had like 50 or 100 battles in your record, but it's just how some of the less experienced players play. They don't know the tactics and so on. So it's not like there's so many botting players, and it doesn't really give much benefit either.
So I would like to point out that have really options to add the win condition, as it would be insane. The amount of acts that player needs is just possible to achieve. Plus tier 6 requirements, it's kind of differ, right? Because you will balance into the tier 8, and the bots not the option. And the last thing that we will on everyone for the using bots in the end.
Plus, to be honest, I think that even when we are talking about bots, we are not actually talking about bots, right? That's the thing, because most of the time these are not bots, they are players who, let's say, want to use this tactic. They run into the enemy, they try to fire a couple of shots and then just die, but that doesn't mean that they're actually bots. So I think
they are trying to exploit the system, like in the Intel fucking retarded marathon.
Yeah, but the main difference between the Intel there is nothing in common between the Intel marathon and the Italian, because there is different requirements. But please consider that if player will use that kind of gameplay pattern, tier 6 or higher, you won't complete, because there is no way for them to get all of that XP in the time, even using that behavior.
Totally agree. It will be a pain to do like 300k experience botting like this.
Okay. So that's not the case. I'd like to comment couple of things regarding the marathon, about the idea of why we exactly do like that. So from our perspective, it is very fair to have the different kind of options to decide either he would like to go to the skills, or just mix everything together. So we would like the player think about how they would like to achieve. And besides that, that's the very first time where we open up the new line in that way. So we didn't want to make something very unique, and that's why there is a lot of rewards beside the tank. But the main reward is the tank itself. So the idea behind of all of that is to give the possibility to all players to get that tank beforehand, before the release, and test the new mechanic, because it's kind of hard to. It's a required time for you to get used to that mechanic and see the full potential of the tank itself. So for us, that kind of framework for the event, it's a new thing, but we will to make that very fair in terms of the user and how they could get it.
Yeah, just to clarify here, when you say test new mechanic, right? You mean like try out. It's not like it's unfinished or needs testing. It's just for players to get familiar with it, right?
Of course. Yeah, exactly.
One question.
Go ahead.
For example, rewards for skill phase 1 are the same that for grinding phase 1?
Yes.
Or are separate?
No, the same.
Okay. So you don't have to choose. You basically do phase 1 and you get some rewards.
Exactly.
So
you do phase 1 either with the skill parts or with the grind one.
Yeah.
It's the same.
So
Okay.
the only choice you need to make, just to clarify, is with the tier you're gonna play. Because if you don't play tier 10, the skill part doesn't kick in, right? So you still get XP, but you don't complete the skill part. Even if you get, let's say, the Top Gun medal, if it was not tier 10, it doesn't move your progress forward. So the
guys,
choice you make is
I would like...
with the tier.
Apologies. So I would like to clarify, it's not the Top Gun.
Oh, it's not a Top Gun.
That's the difference.
Oh, it's high caliber.
Top Gun.
Ah, okay.
Because
lost in
otherwise
translation.
it would be insane.
Ah, okay, so it's lost in translation then. So it's the high caliber medal, right?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Because if it was 6 kills.
Ah, okay. That's good to know. So maybe what I can do is I can change the document and then I can share it with the guys after. So I can actually correct this and say that it's the high caliber medal. Okay, any other questions, guys? About either the Italian tank or the marathon or both? Anything else?
Did anybody here actually try the Italian tank on the CS server already?
I did play that. Do you would like to get a preliminary what it is?
No. I'm wondering from the contributors if anybody had their hands on it, because we have Alexei here who can answer questions about the actual tank, statistics, how it performs, etc. But I don't know if anybody here tested it already.
How's the armor in the tank?
So I can actually I can show you the stats here in the game, which already helps a little bit. So I'm not sure if you guys can see, but I have the all the weapon stats and all the armor. So the whole armor is actually displayed here: 60, 30, 20, and then the third armor is 80, 60, and 25. Obviously, this is just the thickness. So it's not a very heavily armored tank, that's for sure. It's relatively fast though. It goes 55 km/h. So it's pretty mobile.
You can think in this tank as a tier 8 TVP, something like that.
I think it's actually the style is relatively similar. So it's a bit like a mix of current autoloaders and.
You have to play really smart, because in the moment you spend the three shots, then you sell yourself to the enemy. So you have to be really. You don't
necessarily have to expend all your shots. That's the thing. You basically have to make the choice which tactic you prefer. You go the relatively normal way, you know, which you just fire one shot, or you go the autoloader way, or kind of a mix in between.
Yeah, but you have the point.
Sorry.
But you have the point because
one. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I finalized tuning my mic, so yeah, I'm ready to hear you about the tank. I already heard something already you discussed about the autoloader, so feel free to ask.
Yeah, Alexei forgot to introduce himself.
Okay, it was Alexei.
It's me. I thought you see me on the screen. I mean, yeah.
Alexei working closely with the game balance team, so you could address any kind of your questions to him, and he could give you insight of what it is and how they play. So for me, I will just add to the thing how I think about the tank. After a couple of plays, I call that mechanic it's a cognitive mechanic, because if you think, you do a lot of things. If not, well, you will encounter several problems with that.
So it's basically a very high skill cap tank, where you can, if you know what you're doing, then you can achieve a lot.
No.
To be honest, we can say exactly. that this is the only a high skill tanks. I mean, the result will depend on your skill, but every time when you play next battle and faced with the next situation, I mean, when you could reload, or probably you could keep firing. Every time when you faced with this situation, you will improve your skill. I mean, even if you're a high skill player, you will need to get a couple of battles to understand the basic mechanics, but then you will continue to improve your skill and probably reach the peak never, because it's a lot of situation when you need to make a decision, a lot of decisions playing on these tanks. Because, for example, I compare this tank for example with high skill MX-50B tank, because it's really really good tank, and this tank too depends on statistics. But on the autoloaders tank, or just a classical reload mechanism, all you have, it's like a I shoot, then I'm back. I shoot, then I'm back, and you never think about, do I need to shoot next shell, because it's for you it's simple. But on this tank, every time you want to shoot, you have to think, because every time you shoot additional shell, you will get disadvantages with the time of reloading of the next shell. So it will be hard to understand how it works. I mean, on the basic level, but after you understand, every time you will feel like you improve your skill every battle, every situation. I mean, that's my opinion about this tank.
May I ask you something about this? Because I did notice something really. This was, for example, let's get in a situation where you have used 2 shots in your tank, no, ready to shot, but you shot the first one, and then one bullet start reloading. The tier 1 start reloading once again, and then when you shoot again, use that reload reset from 0. That was something that. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. You know, you have to pay something when you have a auto reloader. So, for example, play like a standard tank, like without any afterloaders. You play and shoot 1 by 1, and you can play like this. But on this tank, you have additional advantage. When you realize your burst every time you want. For example, you have a good situation to realize your other 2 shells after the first shell. Do it. Or probably you have a chance to realize only 2 shells, and you don't need to play. You don't need to pay for 2 shells with reloading time for whole drum. Because, for example, you play on bad chat or you play on TVP, miss, you shoot twice, didn't penetrate, and then your target is like go to cover or disappear. I mean, not spotted, and it's something like that. And you have to reload full drum and waste all this time to reload the additional 2 shells, and like you have no options, because if you start reloading, you shoot, you just you have only what you can do is just run. So here you still have firepower. So you shoot once, seconds, shoot twice if you need. Wait again, and you play like a standard vehicle. For example, like I don't know, like Moods or something like that.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah.
The next, for example, you have a chance to realize your 2 shots, and you know that you have a time to reload another 2 shells. You don't need to wait; just shoot the two shots and continue reloading. So, I mean, every time when you want to shoot, you need to understand that your next shell, first of all, your current shell reloading is cancelled. The next thing is the reloading time of the next shell increased. So that's why Artyom, I think, called it cognitive mechanic.
Okay, guys, any other questions about the tank?
Just a small comment to clarify one thing, that that tank is not a lot of skill, so it's not the tank for skilled players only. It's who need to think. That's the point.
So even not so skilled players can make the tank work if they understand the mechanics.
Exactly.
Yeah, but an skilled player will make better decisions on where to burst, where to single shoot. And
they other tanks.
Yeah, but
they don't need to wait for the Italian.
The thing is,
exactly.
This vehicle, from my point of view, it's all about adapting to the game, and bad people will not adapt to it. They will play it as a single shooter, or
you
as
know, they play. If you don't want to adapt, play Type 5 heavy. So
exactly.
Okay.
So the point is, all tanks require you to get some experience to play on, but that one just in other direction. So it gives you a variety how to play, that add extra requirements of that. You need to think to get the potential of the tank.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, it's
about this tank.
I want to add some couple of sentences. When we try to create a new mechanic, we don't want to create a imbalanced tank. Like, for example, we give this tank drum for 20 or for 12 shells and something like that, or we give it in alpha in 200 in 2000. So this tank is more about how you act during the battle. So I hope a lot of players will interested with that, because it's like opportunities to realize your strategy thinking and active thinking when you need to make a decision every time. That's how it should work.
All right. Any other question? No. Okay, guys. If you don't have any more questions about the Italian tank or the marathon, then I think we can thank the guys for joining us and providing us with answers. We are going to share with you the accounts as soon as we have them, and I'm going to share this document as well. Once again, please remember that you should not share the link to the video or any information before the deadlines. Okay. So once again, the tank should not be revealed until the 6th, and the marathon should not be revealed until the 11th when the article comes out. Okay, but we are going to give you more information about the tank preview NDA when we give you the accounts. Okay.
So,
and guys, if you have any question about the tank or mechanic, for example, you need to clarify something, you can write down to Discord channel, or it will be better if you for example, collect the question on some page on the Google Doc, maybe, and I will try to answer or clarify something as soon as possible.
Okay, so in that case, thank you very much, guys, for joining us. I'm going to want to discuss a couple of things with the contributors, but feel free to either listen in or do your other 100 things I'm pretty sure you need to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Phelan, just one thing. Can I make 2 questions regarding the British line? I mean.
Sure.
All right. So a lot of people in my community have been wondering about the Chieftain MK. Is it planned to come anywhere this year? And will it be a premium tank or a tier 10? Following a heavy line.
So maybe Alexei or Artem, if they're still here, they can answer.
Yeah, I can answer, but short answer will be no. But I will explain why and give you a little bit additional information. First of all, of course, we know that we already made this tank in 3D model, and ago we want to implement into the game, but the problem is that we have no proper vehicles before this tank. I mean, for tier 9, tier 8, and etc. So we had 2 options: add the Super Conqueror as a tier 10 or add MK. We decided to add Super Conqueror because it's more similar for gameplay to like a simple Conqueror, to tier 9 Conqueror. So and for now we think that it will be enough to for British heavy tanks, because MK MK6, MK5, it doesn't matter. I mean, MK Chieftain's tank didn't doesn't give the player a new experience. It will be just a additional tank in the line, and a lot of players will be faced with decision what I should research, Super Conqueror or Chieftain. And it's not very good because we split the auditory. For example, we have this situation with the Soviet tanks when where object and T-62 is almost the same tanks, like small differences, but the auditory is split and they play on the same tanks but with different names. We know about the historical point of part of the Chieftain, and we're still thinking about this, but in this year I'm sure that we will not back to this tank, to the tech tree and etc. Because as you already know, we will release two nations. It will be Italian and Polish line. So I think we should keep Chieftain for the next year. Chieftain and the line for the Chieftain, because
it's too soon to reveal anything to the community, right? So I shall tell them that for this year there's no plans about the Chieftain.
Can share this information for this year. It's no plans for the Chieftain.
Okay, so I'm gonna share that information on.
It will be when it's just I mean, why I try to explain and give you a little bit expanded or like extended answer, because that I want to share you with community, because the answer no, it's not good, because it's not. I just want to explain how we're thinking when we add something to the game, and like information will be enough to explain the guys who wants the Chieftain to understand how we're thinking and how we see on this topic.
All right. So for now, I'll keep the information. Since my community has been asking around, as I said before, I'll just tell them that there's no plans. That the tank is.
Sander, if I understand Alexa correctly, then you can actually share this information and the reasoning behind
it
as well.
I can't. Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah. First of all, it will be great if you share not only like a simple answer like no, we have no plans. Explain the reasoning. It's simple. I think you understand it, and it's not hard to explain it to the guys who are asking you on the streams, for example, or in the videos, in the comments.
Okay, can I ask something? I think this is something that is complaining a lot of people in the game, and it's about the OG26A version 4. I think that tank is a little bit overpowered, and it's something that is broken completely the meta of the game. Do you guys thinking to do something about it?
Yeah, we in the last update we discussed it a lot, because we don't want to making the mess in 1.0 and touch this vehicle, but after the 1.0 we actively discuss the situation with 268, because how we think previously. When we released this tank, it based on the statistics, this tank was really good, had really good performance. But we know why, because a lot of players who play on this vehicle is a skilled players. So I will try to explain average player statistics on T64, for example, it's the 47%. It's a standard for our game, and a lot of vehicles which this distribution in statistics. So the average is 47, and average for 268 on the beginning when we released this tank was 52%. So of course this vehicle is have the good statistics because a lot of players who play on this vehicle is the skill players, more skill players than on average game. So we decided to wait a little bit, wait one update or maybe two updates to see how it will perform after we after the average players get this vehicle and play on this. So, and of course it is the one point. The second one, every time when we release some armored tanks, the situation when players didn't know how to penetrate this tank. For example, they didn't know the weak spots. They didn't know other parameters of this tank, and it's hard to fight with this tank because you didn't know how it works. But after one update, on one or two updates, they understand how it works and try to, and the statistics of this tank is and the trend is decreasing. So that's why we decided to wait. And for now, we discussing how we should proceed with 268. I mean, should we nerf something, and what we should nerf in this vehicle to keep the gameplay but decrease the performance a little bit. For now, I can't give you a fix or final decision, but now we're actively thinking what should we do with this vehicle.
All right, thank you. It is necessary. It is necessary something like this. A little bit more communication between the contributors and the development staff, because we hear the people. We are players too, and we hear the people, and we really need to share the information with you guys to make a good game. Because I think no one here have less than 10,000 battles. We spend a lot of time, a lot of money in this game, so this is something that means to us. So I think that is necessary.
a very loud and definitely yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice week.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thanks a lot. See you next week.